Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know if I...
As you can see, I am back at the farmhouse today and I have another update on the interior of the home. Hey there, my name is Yami. I am your Latina next door. Welcome back to mi casa. As you all know, we have graduated to the inside of the farmhouse. This is now officially, I guess, season 2 of our Building a Farmhouse series. And this is actually the second episode. The first episode was on the rock that we installed on our fireplace. And if you have not seen that video yet, I'll go ahead and link it below. You can also check out the rest of the Building a Farmhouse series. That link is always in the description box of these videos. Today's video, we're going to focus on the upstairs carpet of the home. Right there is where we come up from downstairs. That's where the stairwell is. And right here where I'm at, which is actually the center of the floor plan of the upstairs level, is what I like to call the kids' lounge. And it's basically an open space for the kids to congregate, have an actual hangout space, watch TV, play games, all of that. Now, for the flooring upstairs, since it's going to be pretty much the children's domain, we decided that we wanted to install carpet. Now, not everybody is into carpet, and that's okay. We actually like it, especially for the bedrooms and especially for the children. It's very soft on our feet. It allows for also noise cancellation between the top floor and the first floor. And as you know, kids growing up can be a little rambunctious, and it's also kind of for safety reasons. You know, we have kids ranging from 13 years old to 1.5. And they all love to just jump around, hang out, just be active kids, especially my 1.5-year-old who's learning all the capabilities of her little legs. So we decided that we just needed something soft for them to sit, stand, run, jump on, fall on, you name it. And so we went to Carpets of Dalton to make our selections. And it was a little overwhelming at first because there were so many things to pick from. Not only are you choosing color, but you're choosing the density of the carpet, how you want it woven, so many things. And on top of that, you also had to consider the padding that goes underneath the carpet. We went with an 8-pound padding. The usual builder grade standard is 4-pound, but we knew that we wanted something extra plush, extra thick, extra soft, and extra durable. So we went with an 8. And we also got it with a protective barrier on it for liquid spills and, you know, any kind of accidents that you may have. So the padding is actually protected underneath the carpet so that it doesn't actually penetrate through the carpet, the padding, and into any subfloor if there were ever supposed to be, you know, like a big spill or something like that. And now I'm going to put the specifics of the actual carpet that we went with, as well as the name of the color, etc., on the screen. I don't know it off the top of my head. But it was nice to go around and just see the different textures and colors, and I wanted something fairly neutral. Now, as far as the actual carpet, I wanted to go with something that was a nice, thick, dense weave. So we went with a 60-ounce weave for us as well. And as far as color, I went with something that was a little bit grayish, not gray, not beige, but just right in between. And you can actually see up close the different colors and kind of how it makes up the whole carpet look. And behind me, you can see, depending on which way the pattern has been, brushed, you either get a light version like this or a darker version. I love the way it turned out. I think it's the perfect color. It's still nice and light and bright in here. It's super soft. The kids got to jump around in it and test it out, and they absolutely love the way it feels. So do we. It is a huge difference from other carpets that we've had before. Now, the install was pretty quick, but We did have to have a few things done before the install, and that was the tiling on all of the floors of the bathroom had to be completed so that the transition was in place and the carpet could be tucked under. We also had to have all the baseboards installed so that there was a place to tuck the carpet under as well. And we even had all of the door frames up here on the second floor installed, again, so the carpet could be tucked underneath. All that was done prior to the carpet being installed. So we had one last thing to contend with, and it was that little wall to the left of the fireplace. Mainly that section that covers the staircase that's above the landing. That needed to be moved up in order for the carpet to have something to kind of go into. It was not originally done this way, and the drywall did not go all the way up, so we had to figure it out ourselves. Nelson had gotten some 2x6s so that we could build up the wall and create kind of like a little mini knee wall for it. This is also the place where we're going to be able to put the balusters for the actual stair railing. Now the key here was that we needed to get the wall just past the steps. We did not want to see the edges of the steps just past the little wall that we were building. So we had to get that right. We also had to install the treads for the very top step below the landing. Those 3 steps are going to actually have wood steps. So we had to be able to cut it to fit because we needed to put the actual newel post that goes in that corner where the stair turns. We actually had to install it before we can create that knee wall because it's all supposed to fit like one piece together. Before we could install the post, we needed to figure out how tall we wanted it because they actually come in taller than what's necessary or to code. So we had to figure that out and then hope to God that we were right because we can only cut this thing once. Then this got really tricky because we had to cut off part of that newel post off so that it would fit and align with the center of that new knee wall that we were building because that's where the railing's going to go, and the railing has to hit the center of the newel post along that wall. Like, we had never done this before. And we were trying to figure this all out as we went. Now, this post is not going anywhere. Nelson added lag bolts from the bottom, from the back, and from the side. It is sturdy as can be. Now, Nelson usually does all the heavy lifting in these types of videos, and you always see him doing the cuts and stuff. But for once, I'm going to toot my own horn because I don't think I ever give myself enough credit. He was able to do all the cuts for me, but I was actually the one that was able to figure out all of the cuts, all of the pieces, the heights, how to come up with the center of it and everything. And I was actually pretty proud of myself because I had never done anything like this before, and it actually ended up working out. So basically what I'm trying to do here is case this out. This little wall has to be bumped up so that when the carpet is installed on that set of stairs over there, it'll butt up to this right here. Originally, this should have been built up higher, but it was built out for wood staircases instead of carpet stairs. So that's why this has been a little tricky. Nobody's been able to figure this out. Nobody's actually had the guts to try to. And that's why me and Nelson are here trying to figure this out. So what I'm trying to do is trying to figure out what the cuts are that I need in order to fill in this back here so that this slides in nice and seamless and covers this gap right here. It doesn't have to be perfect on the inside because obviously this is all going to be cased out in this white board, so you won't see any of this. But I do need this to be seamless over there. And it can't be done with one board because this right here, if I push it all the way, there's going to be a small piece in the back, like a little triangle piece where it's going to be exposed. And I'll need a piece there. So I'm trying to do this with at the least amount of wood. And I think I figured it out. I'm not sure. So I'm waiting for Nelson to come back. We can do the cuts and then we can test it out. So if I bring that long board all the way down, which is another option, I'm going to have this little triangle right here. So I'm trying to see whether or not I should have just one seam right here
or one seam in a triangular kind of offset position here. And I don't know. It might be less noticeable here, I'm not sure, but then again, it's at a weird angle. So we're trying to figure this out. All right, let's see. This worked. This is gonna put up against that. Open. What? Okay, so the reason we went with this pine board instead of the primed piece, like this one back here, was because we didn't have a piece wide enough for it to go from top to bottom in one piece. On that side, because the stairs kind of hide it, we were able to put a 4-inch piece up there and then an 8-inch piece up here. But because we needed a 12 piece to cover everything, we went ahead with this one. I'm gonna prime it and paint it, so hopefully you won't tell too much of the difference. I'll putty some of this stuff and sand it really smooth, and hopefully I can get all the wood grain out. We also had to go to our neighbor's house and borrow a planer. It was about this thick, and as you can see here, I wanted it to come in on the inside of the post so that we had a nice little lip, which, if you actually look on the other side, we have a lip right there too. And since it was so thick, it actually went past the post. So we went to our neighbors and we got it planed, and we got it down very thin, enough to go right in here and look like that. So that looks a lot better. This part's done. Now Nelson is back there cutting the piece that's gonna cap everything and close it off.
Now this project took us probably a little bit longer than it should have, but I am glad to say that that wall is nice and secure, and we were able to tie in the rest of the trim that goes down the stairs to that little wall, and it all worked out just in time for the carpet. There was a lot of cleanup too, because there was so much debris and so much dust and just, you know, construction, right? Dirt that you get when it's a new build. So Nelson and I cleaned up these floors. We swept, we vacuumed, we scraped anything that was left over from the drywall, because sometimes you get mud splatter, you know, all over the place. So he was going around with a scraper, making sure that everything was flat, no nails were sticking up. And I, of course, was just sweeping and vacuuming up anything that did not need to stay, because if you don't do that, they basically just put the carpet on top of all that. And we wanted to make sure that it was as clean as possible. Installation happened over just a 2-day period, and we were able to get the upstairs entire area, including all the kids' bedrooms, their closets, the hallways, and the lounge area. We also carpeted the staircase. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Staircases don't look very pretty when they're carpeted. It might be a pain to some, but honestly, it's not to us. With our 1.5-year-old, to me, I would rather have carpeted stairs. I've slipped down the stairs before, and it can happen to anybody. So for me as a mother, I would rather have a padded staircase. It just makes me feel better. And in the future, if I ever want to change it to hardwood floors or any kind of, you know, just hard surface, I can do that. But for right now, I prefer the padded, soft, rounded edges that a carpet gives a staircase for my children. So in addition to that, we also got the bonus room done that's above the garage. That's an area that's not going to be used a whole lot until the very end, because that's one of the last spaces that we're going to do in the house. But we thought we might as well just go ahead and get the carpet installed at the same time that we had the carpet installed here for cost purposes. And since that's going to be like a room where we're going to store a lot of the things that we're not going to use right away, it's just going to be better to have carpet up there and just have it ready. So when we do empty that space out, there's just not much construction to be done. Plus, since it's going to be a place where we're all going to be hanging out and having fun and stuff, carpet just seemed to be the best way to go. Now, as far as maintenance, a lot of people think carpet is hard to maintain or keep clean. For us, it's never really been an issue. We won't be allowing any of our pets to come upstairs. And that was something that we did in our last house too. So we won't have any kind of dander or any kind of dog or, pet situations happening up here that would cause us to have any additional stains on the carpet. Also, the kids won't really be eating up here. They may have a light snack or waters up here, but anything else will be consumed downstairs, in the kitchen, on the dining room, and that sort of thing. Plus, we all have house shoes or we wear socks when we're in our bedrooms. So it's not going to be an issue of, tracking any dirt all the way up here to the second floor either. There is off gassing with carpeting after it's installed, and you should let it at least 3 days to air. So we're not really spending a lot of time in here. Obviously, the kids came, saw it, tested it out. We all left. This is the second day right now of this particular carpet being installed. It's already been off gassing for 2 days. So we're going to let it off gas for a few more days before we come back here really and do anything else. Also, there is a lot of pilling, a lot of little, bits of fibers here and there from when they were cutting and fitting it. So that all has to be vacuumed several times in order for all that initial stuff and fluff to just come off of it. But there's just not much to it. It is done. The next thing we need to do is put back all of the doors because we had to remove the doors in order for the carpet to be installed. Because it's really thick padding and really dense carpet, the doors will have to be shaved down a little bit at the bottom in order for them to open and close properly. They were not able to pull it through. And, that was something that, we didn't even think about. But I'm glad because that really does show that this is a more plush, more luxurious type carpet. And it's not going to be that much that needs to be shaved off the doors. So it's really not that big of a deal. So we just have to get that done before we put the doors back in place. You guys see, it looks more like a finished home, right? We just have to get all of these outlets and switches and light fixtures installed. And we're just another step closer for this to look like an actual finished space. I have really fun plans for this lounge area that I'm sitting in for the kids. I want a really fun place with a TV and a really big, sectional for them to just kind of hang out, lounge, and a lot of storage for them to put games away and, whatever they want to have in here. So that video, I can't wait to share with you all when I get started in here and just really have a place for the kids to just, kind of hang out and enjoy. So that is it for today's video on our Building a Farmhouse series Interior Finishes Edition. If you enjoyed this, please make sure to give this video a like and let me know in the comments below what you think. We have a lot more things in the works and a lot more things coming your way. So please stay tuned and I will see you all in the next episode. Until then, adios!